phone, which I'm kind of disappointed in, but I found out he wanted to withdraw, and I drove by his place and there's 5 trucks lined up, boom, 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 boom.
Yeah,
Right.
and last time I went by, he had 1 truck out.
I
It
saw-
fluctuates, you know,
I
I
saw
see it.
Well, that's because he had the meeting coming up. Now that he withdrew, he's coming back to us.
You know, I
Nobody
would,
enforces
So he sent a letter requesting.
Well, that's
You
right.
hit him, you're gonna have to hit.
no, I know, and I think, frankly, that we can work with a client like that to try to find a solution, but instead of having them go through the initial formal process and having them come in here, because he seemed to be blindsided by what variables we were really looking at. And if we had said to him, like, would you do it informally, come to Lisa, tell her what you want, let her simply schedule, you know, an informal hearing with the board, and that way we can sound the guy like him. We don't have to waste the time. He doesn't have to spend the money. You know, we could have just said, listen, you're not gonna put a 2,000 square foot building on the street. It's not, you know, if you want to put a pool.
But that's something Kenny,
No, that's true, but,
I bet
you
you're
know,
ignorant.
even so, I would think if we do an
That's
informal.
Kenny, I
Well,
understood.
you put a t-shirt on.
It's questionable. I
Would you
don't
just get back from vacation, is that right?
Still in the middle of it.
Still in the middle of it.
Kenny,
Not bad.
Home occupation.
Good for you.
know. I don't shave when I'm
God,
on
what he
vacation too
told
many
us.
times.
he ain't home occupation.
Of course he was.
Okay,
No,
it's a
yeah,
little
but-
after
He
7
wasn't
o'clock,
then.
so, we're ready to,
It's been on.
we're on?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll call the meeting to order. Miscellaneous business is to
Cool.
the minutes for our May 16th meeting.
Nervous now.
Have you all had a chance to read them?
Yeah, I did. I know about Phil.
Do you know what it means though?
I wasn't here, so I didn't read it. Hello.
Hi, Jen. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good.
Oh, he did put it come to last night. He said the meeting.
Okay, motion to accept the minutes of May 16th.
So moved.
I'll second it.
Motion made second, in discussion. All in favor, signify by saying aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Okay, Tom, you got the Hazeltine decision.
Yes,
This is the original. with the
Lisa
plan.
has it.
This is the original with the plans done.
It's only 3 pages. Right? It's only 3 pages.
Yeah.
Okay. This is a draft of the Hazeltine decision, case number 13-04. Decision of Raleigh zoning board of appeals on the protective zoning bylaw by petition of George Hazeltine, trustee of the Pleasant Street Realty Trust dated 5/13/2013. by special permit on a property located at 3436 Pleasant Street, so as to permit construction of a single-family home thereon in place of the two-family structure authorized by special permit granted in case number 12-07 on 7/19/2012. A public hearing was held at the Raleigh Town Hall Annex to Center School on June 20, 2013. Members acting in this case are Donald W. Thurston, Chairman, David Kopeck, Member, Bill Pressing, Member, and Thomas W. Highway, Clerk. Pursuant to public notice originally in the Town Common, the newspaper general circulation, the Town of Raleigh, published the 6th of June 2013, and on the 13th of June 2013. And by mail, said motions prepaid to all parties of interest as defined in Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 48, Section 11. Such list of parties having been certified by the town assessor and town clerk, planning board, board of selectmen, and building inspector, by being posted in conspicuous place in the town hall for not less than 14 days. Mistake here.
Mistake?
Certified by the town assessor, not and to the town. And unless I'm reading it wrong. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, such list of parties having been certified by the town assessor.
Comma,
His question
And to the
What's the
town.
question?
and to the town.
Okay, all right.
should be by the town clerk.
No.
No,
Okay.
and to
Well, it
the
was sent
town.
to the town clerk.
Right.
Okay, nothing wrong.
That's not real.
Okay.
Real ways to mention.
My mistake. The land is located in the outlying district and is shown on the census map 24, lot 89. The deed is recorded in the Essex Registry of Deeds, book number 28940, page 533. The applicant has requested modification of an administrative appeal finding and special permit issued by the board in case number 81207, dated July 19, 2012, filed with the town clerk on July 23, 2012. Said decision authorized the replacement of a pre-existing non-conforming two-family structure, which was found by the board to have been discontinued and not used for a period of 2 or more years. Reconstruction of the structure itself was permitted upon finding by the board that the new two-family residence would not be more detrimental a non-conforming structure or in detriment to the neighborhood. Its use as a two-family was allowed under section 6.3 of the zoning bylaw, which permits a conversion from single to two-family use. Because the property is less than the required lot area, therefore the board issued a special permit including the requirements found in section 6.3.1.3.1 through 6.3.1.3.5 has been satisfied. A change in the aforesaid decision is sought so as to permit the construction of a single-family home and move the two-family structure authorized thereof. The chairman opened the public hearing in due form and determined there was no conflict of interest by him. At the public hearing on June 20, 2013, at approximately 7:15 p.m., the applicant's current attorney, Adam J. Costa, was present at the hearing. Also present was the applicant's business partner on this project, Josh Norton. The certified abutters list was reviewed and accepted. The applicant submitted a copy of the aforementioned decision, A1207, dated July 19, 2012, with its accompanying certified plot plan and an updated certified plot plan showing single-family residence now being proposed. Attorney Costa gave a brief history of the relief requested by the applicant and received from the board about the concerns and criticisms to follow of the difficulties encountered by the applicant in making units to be constructed the two-family structure and ultimately the applicant's decision to seek a change from the board's decision to allow the construction of a single-family home on the property instead. Attorney Costa explained that less, not more relief is needed for the applicant to proceed with the construction of a single-family home, which is a use permitted as of right in the outlying district. The board's prior finding that the new demolished two-family structure had been discontinued or not used for a period of 2 years or more, no longer of any consequence. Likewise, a special permit issued by the board for conversion from a single family to a two-family structure is no longer required. The board need only find, as it did for the two-family home proposed a year ago, that the single-family residence shown on the updated certified plot plan is not substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood than was the pre-existing non-conforming two-family structure recently raised. No abutter resident or member of the public attended the public hearing. The board discussed the change requested by the applicant and concluded that it will be less intense use of the property than the two-family structure approved a year ago. Proposed construction of a single-family home results in improvement upon that of the prior approved two-family home, not only by reducing living density on the site, but also total bedrooms on the site will be reduced from 6 to 4. The chairman expressed the preference for the front yard setbacks to be increased to not less than 17 feet in lieu of the 12-foot 9 feet shown in the updated certified plot. Attorney Costa explained that an adequate distance must be maintained between the home and the septic tank leaching area and the rear of the site. After more discussion by the board and by conferring with Mr. Knott, Attorney Costa indicated the applicant would meet the increased setback request. The board, after concluding its review of the application, found the construction of a single-family home at 3436 Pleasant
Mr.
Street.
Very top,
Yeah.
right above where you're reading right now, up further, there's another sentence or two, another paragraph.
Oh,
It's snuck up on
Your
you.
paperclip is blocked.
based on the above, the board voted to issue a special permit and authorize the clerk to draft a decision approving the applicant's request to build a single family on the 3436 Pleasant Street property. Board findings. The board, after concluding its review of the application, found that construction of a single family home on 3436 Pleasant Street property, as proposed, will not be substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood than the pre-existing non-conforming two-family structure that existed on the site until recently. The single-family residence shall be constructed in substantial conformance with the updated certified plot plan submitted to the board by the applicant, prepared by Engineering Land Services LLC, dated March 19, 2013, and identifies job number 3436PL-R, provided, however, that the entirety of the structure shall be set back further from the right-of-way on this Pleasant Street, a minimum distance of 17 feet. The above finding is made subject to the following conditions. A final plan showing the location and construction of the building must be approved by the building inspector. The applicant shall obtain and submit to the zoning board of appeals a letter when the inspector is proof of the final plans approved. Any changes to the plan supplied with the application must be brought before the zoning board of appeals for review and approval prior to the finding of the plan, the registry of deeds. See attached plan. A final approved copy of the plan must be submitted to the fire department to determine if all or any additional proposed allowance are in code. Any subsequent change to the plan must be submitted to the zoning board of appeals for approval. Failure to comply with the provisions of this decision at any time shall be reasonable cause, grounds for the building inspector to order operation of all construction at this location to cease.
To cease.
To cease.
That's the wrong thing. Can we just cross that out?
Any additions, corrections?
No. a signed copy?
Is it July
Why
18th?
not?
Or,
Is it July? Yeah. Right.
so the date needs to be amended to July 18th.
18th day of July.
Right, that last line has to be changed.
We're
Or
gonna
just
change it. How can we
18th
write
day.
it in?
You can write that in, can we? Just initial it?
Would think so. Can we do that? I don't see one. Instead of
And why rewrite the
having to
whole thing?
redraft the whole
Yeah.
page.
So we were going to, originally we were gonna sign it early, but couldn't
Right.
get everybody together.
Right.
Or will we just do that?
Well, we need to have the right date on it. Whatever we do, it needs to be the correct date, which is today's date.
Retype the page. You got the page on.
I can go up and just write that.
Change it, 'cause
You don't
that's-
have to-
That's
you
the
got the
page
whole
we
thing
have to
to-
sign.
Yeah,
All you
I'll
have
just
to
do the
is
last
make
page.
the
Might as well do a nice clean copy.
Okay,
Six
before you
pages.
go, all those in favor?
Aye.
With the amended date of the 18th, aye.
All right.
This was
He used to make changes.
You have like a
Whenever.
format, no
When I
bounds,
was,
just
when I
straight,
was typing on my
No,
hand.
straight run.
Again, but I'm gonna type it again, because I cranked some of them.
mostly the first
All legal
section
documents you can do.
Sure.
You can put it down once you initial it.
is
What's the
template.
difference on
It's
It's
simply
pretty much standard.
inputting new data.
Makes it
Okay.
clean.
What's the difference?
Once, you know, and that goes up until the description of what the applicant is, what, you know, what applicable zoning bylaw is actually
It's gotta be
being requested, reviewed for the permit application. Then at that point forward, it's pretty much based
Yeah,
upon
I'm not getting paid.
notes.
Hey, it's not my worry anyway, it's yours. You're not getting paid.
And
Sitting here.
a review of, okay, what is it that they really, what did they tell us? What, you know, I try to recount what happened here as best as possible,
Yeah.
so that, in the future, any references that are needed to it can be clear.
Who said this would be?
It's pretty good.
But some of the content, but in terms of inputting the actual zoning bylaws, I have everything automated, so when I make a reference to exact verbiage, I don't have to go look at it and type it, I just go grab it and put it. And so I can be very efficient about it, you know, this is what the bylaw actually says. In the event someone reads it at some point in the future and says, what is he really talking about? Because sometimes if it's a 75-word paragraph, you know, I'll put in 40 words of it, and I'll start it with it, and I'll interrupt it, and I'll complete with the end of the paragraph so that it's clear the paragraph I'm referring to, in quotes. And Judy Pickett, town council, always told us to, in reference to plans, refer to dates, numbers, anything you can get off the plan, so that if someone's looking at the future, there isn't a question of like, is this really the plan they were referring to? What did they look at? Just find anything, about the date, who signed it, the number, anything like that.
Hey, where'd you go, Dave? You heard back to one? You didn't get us.
Moved out west.
Nothing.
Martha's Vineyard for a week.
Oh, yeah.
I'm in a house there.
Lisa got him, we wanted to get his nameplate to him.
Oh,
So, we had to track him down, took us about a month to track him down. But we found that I had an old email from the law firm he was working for, which he's still working for, just out there. He's out in Springfield somewhere or something like that. And once we connected, he wished as well to all of us, you know. This was probably back in early May. We started looking for him in, I don't know, February or March, between emails and this didn't work, that didn't work, try this, try that.
Yeah.
We found him, so
And I was coming down there, but didn't realize.
we said, well, even if you put it on your desk, you're home.
And I just went back to bed again. Went to bathroom and said, and the next
No, I haven't looked
night,
look at that.
open at 1:20.
This is the map we were talking about last meeting.
Those sheets are so those. Said, I gotta change
That's
that.
the front page, if you want to know what street it is,
Oh, she's the one that
tell you what matters.
It is,
I
yeah.
didn't notice the sheets under it falling on the side. And I said, well, I'm going
That's really
So
good.
I was starting to move.
They were one line too.
Oh, and moving. And I go, this is really good.
Yeah.
This line, which is.
No, I know.
Maybe just around.
Yeah.
And certainly skin is falling off, flesh is still burns.
Okay, voted this 18th day of July, 2013.
Excellent.
She's still there written in my head,
Please.
hardwood floor. And
This is great.
when the doctor got the,
I was telling Dawn, I would have liked to have done it
sent me
in
an
color,
X-ray of the
but the
chest.
originals
Thinking
were
about
11 by
broken ribs.
14, and it would
Yeah.
take the printer upstairs. So I couldn't do it in color.
Oh, you couldn't copy 1 by 14 off the screen?
Not, they were sheets, the physical sheets that we got from the assessors.
Yeah, yeah.
So I wanted to copy them as it was, I had
They came
to
back.
downsize a little bit.
Yeah.
But I
Oh,
would
I
have liked, I would have liked to do it by color. 11 by 14 won't fit in the printer.
There was
8 by
nine.
Bill?
14
Good
does.
thing it happened.
11 by,
So we.
Oh.
yeah,
I'm sorry.
it's larger than the legal.
It's not legal, it's
10
wider.
days
I
ahead
can
of my times.
I see the dilemma.
And the next week, I felt great. I couldn't hold the pain, more than twice because when in the house and fell apart. When I was down for the next day or
Thank you,
two.
sir.
That Tom?
Sign 6.
It's taken
Yeah.
about 3 weeks.
You know what to do with that.
Yes, I do.
No, come ahead. Where are you
Plans,
now?
where's the other one? I had the
Oh.
plans with it.
Yeah. All right.
Okay. Yep, I can see it.
She knows what she's doing.
I can see.
Okay. Okay. We have a letter here from Mr. Maffei. He was in here last month.
You should.
We had some concerns and so forth. And so anyways, this is dated July 8th. Gregory K. Maffei, Senior, 183 Haverhill Street, Raleigh, Mass. 1969. Raleigh Zoning Board of Appeals, 39 Center Street, Raleigh, Mass. I, Gregory K. Maffei, Senior, 183 Haverhill Street, Raleigh, Mass. 1969. Wish to withdraw my application from the Zoning Board of Appeals without prejudice and understanding that it will be applied in the most suitable time. Thank you for your time and explaining the issue. Sincerely, Gregory K. Maffei, Senior. So, we need to vote on acceptance of this letter. Wish to allow him to draw without prejudice.
I'll make a motion to withdraw here without prejudice.
And second.
I'll second.
Aye.
That wasn't here, it's not, it started here.
Yeah, supposedly proposing
Okay,
hearing.
so we have to, close that. With no decision. Right. Okay, so do I hear a motion to close the hearing? And instruct the clerk to file the paperwork with the town clerk.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is made. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That will dispose of that decision. There won't be that payment on it. So that the file will be done. And then no decision is made. Okay. Next item of business is
So how was John supposed to?
Okay, I'm gonna reopen the, it's not reopen, but continue the, public hearing for Marion Way, Tompkins Discharge Trust. And, John, we sent you a letter stating you things that we wanted from you, so before we go on here, let me get something here. All right, first things first, John. Number one, purchase and sale agreement between the owner of land, the Tompkins Custodian Trust, and American Building Remodeling Corporation of America. You have that.
I'm embarrassed to say that you have the only copy in your files. The lawyers don't have it, Bruce Tompkins doesn't have it, and I don't have it. And I remember the night of the meeting, Tom Francis came here to sign it. And we gave it to you, and it's in your file. And I'd like permission early next week to go through the file and find it and make copies.
In other words, the first hearing, you think, John, the first original hearing?
Oh, no, no.
Are you saying the time when Tom Frankos was here? The one time he was here?
No, he signed it and left. I have the date, and I'll have to, I thought I brought it with me, but I didn't. It's sometime in 2000, maybe late 2011.
Okay, we don't have a purchase and sale agreement. Okay. Okay, submit any plan text revisions to the, this is number 2. Submit any plan text revisions to the ZBA and also the county engineer. Highlight any changes made. The last complete submittal was in 5/18/2012. We understand there may be changes to those that make the current version different. Any changes?
Yes, sir. I have 6 copies here. And I've got a,
I don't want all this other paperwork, John, I just want
the plan. Oh,
Is this packet a response to the letter?
yes. the plan, that,
This changed.
Tom, can we go through all of this and make sure we get everything right?
That's what we're gonna do.
That's what we're gonna keep doing.
All right,
Okay.
so you submitted that.
yep,
That's the number 2. Number 3, submit a plan that shows all neighboring land owned by the same owner at all points of public access to the property.
yeah, and that's in that packet, and it's called the zoning setback. No, I'm sorry. No, it's the plan of land and around, the assessors map 923.
Okay, so it's number 2 in your packet.
Yeah, that's what you got.
Okay.
Okay, perform a traffic study and design the implications of the proposed project on the surrounding traffic patterns and submit to the board for review.
You have that in the packet, that's mine, item number 5.
Okay.
Revise the descriptions of the waiver requests to specifically explain the anticipated outcome of granting the waiver, instead of asking for a waiver from the planning board rules and regs. The side setback, ask for the side yard setback requirement to be reduced from 50 feet to 5, just an example. You've done that.
And that's shown on the plan of zoning setbacks.
You've got a separate plan showing.
Right. That's my item number 3.
Revise the while floodplain issues delineated by Raleigh Conservation Commission in its letter of 5/12/12 are not currently tied to the 40B application review process. The board, upon advice of town council, suggests the applicant that it complete its efforts to respond to the Concom with regard to stormwater management issues, since it is conceivable that impacts caused by meeting stormwater regulations would force the applicant to again revise his plans and hence require further review by the board. You done that?
I sent a stormwater report to Camet Engineering for their review, and the report was sent back to me with and we sent also a check of $3,000 some odd dollars,
I saw that.
and they returned it. I was flabbergasted and frustrated, to say the least, when they did, and it took me a while to contact Fred Ford of Camet Engineering to find out why he returned it, and he said he was called by the Conservation Commission to return it.
So nothing further has been done with the Conservation Commission to this point?
Well, I was at a meeting a few weeks, about a week or so ago, matter of fact, on the 9th, and I submitted plans to them, and they want some revisions made, and I took meticulous notes. We're working on those revisions now, and we're on the agenda for the 20th of July.
Do you have any confidence that it'll be resolved by that, at that meeting?
I don't think so. I'd like to say yes, but
That's okay, John, we're really just looking for your assessment from a timeline.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
That's all.
I'm gonna do my best to, because it's frustrating for us to keep this thing going.
Okay.
And matter of fact, I told Brent, I says, I'm gonna meet with him before the meeting to make sure he's in agreement with everything that we've done, so there won't be any loose ends.
Okay, that's good.
Okay, complete, okay. 7, a complete line item response to each section excluding site description in the attached letter and review by Graham Associates provided partly planning board and the zoning board on November 22nd, 2011 with specific regard on the recommended changes therein which have since been incorporated in the current set of plans and provided in May 2012 as part of the subdivision in response to its current request.
Okay, that's my item number 4.
Agenda item number 4. Okay.
I can give you a brief rundown on the plan here of what we've done.
You want to do that, John?
Yeah, you can do that.
So as you know, the entrance is on this curve on Daniels Road. The proposed street is approximately 850 feet long. There are 10 lots, and we show the dwellings on each of the lots. We've done an extensive flood study using what's called HydroCAD software, and we've delineated each and every separate area. For example, each driveway has its own separate calculation, each rooftop has its own separate calculation, even the decks, the septic systems, the topographic area, and these are represented by these hexagons here. But also in light blue on the plan is the individual HydroCAD areas that we had to sum up to get to the watershed area. The pavement, I think I mentioned this before, is what's called super elevated. It's not crowned like your usual pavement. It's sloped to one side. And as are all the curves on Havel Street, by the way. And water is sheet flowed into a grass channel that runs along the length of the street. We have an infiltration basin out front. Oh, by the way, the street peaks at about 175 feet in. So we have an infiltration basin that takes the first 175 feet that slopes back towards Daniel Road, and we store it in this infiltration basin here. The rest of it is all downslope, and we store it in this rather large infiltration basin at the end of the street, on the other side of the street. And both of these discharge through what are called concrete weirs that control the flow and discharge into stone channels and ultimately into the wetlands.
Hold on, John.
Okay?
What's your question? Where's the street start? Where's the boundary? From here? All the way to here? Okay. What's this stuff here? Stone.
You did away with the entrance. What you got there for? So you got a cement barrier there? What's that black, that thing? Right,
This right here?
no, right there.
Right there, that's a stone channel. But this, is
Stone
that,
channel for what?
for the infiltration basin.
Oh, okay. All right. So where is the street itself?
The street itself,
Here,
now you're talking the pavement or the right of way?
Pavement.
see here?
Pavement.
Here.
Okay, the pavement.
Here.
The pavement is,
Where is
At
it?
the
Where
entrance.
is it on Daniels Road?
the pavement on Daniels Road
Sure gets more lines in here. Can't
is
see.
right out to here.
Right. Here. Here's the entrance. Here.
And this line here is the center line of the pavement.
Is the pavement. So you're coming down here.
Where's the
This is where you're
center?
turning in. So there's no island or rocks or anything like that in the entrance.
Yeah, no, we've
That's
done
all
away
on-
with that. Yeah, we've done away with that.
Coming in.
And as a matter of fact, I don't know if I mentioned this before, but this particular design, we didn't copy it, but it just so happens that in Topsfield, coming from, if you come down Route 1 and take a right onto Ipswich Road, at the lights where the
Yeah.
Dunkin' Donuts is, and you proceed into Topsfield,
Yeah.
you come, they've rearranged that.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, and we've done exactly the same thing. So you come out and you're approaching Daniels Road at a right angle.
Yeah.
Right, you see both ways.
Yeah.
Right, and you can see both ways.
Yeah.
It's a much better solution, it's a cleaner solution, there aren't the islands especially in the wintertime for snow plowing,
Yeah.
they're a hazard.
They're not gonna do nothing across the street on there.
Visual.
I'm sorry?
They're not gonna do nothing across the street.
Oh,
as you
yes,
come
yeah,
out.
yeah. We're going to,
Pull that dirt back,
I'm sorry?
you're gonna go back into the.
Yes, yeah, we're going,
How many feet you going in? Off the road now?
It's like 19.
So you're putting this stone wall in here, it looks like.
right, yeah, we're proposing a stone wall on this heavy line right here, Dave.
Right, how far is that in from the street now? I mean, how many feet are you going into that? Well, the guy thought it was his property, but it isn't.
Let me get the right scale here.
That will make that entrance a big difference.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, that's about 14 feet.
You going in?
Right.
Oh, good.
And
So it'll widen, it'll make the curve a lot safer besides.
what, are you gonna take that right down to the pavement level, or is it a graded thing?
Well, it is a graded thing,
Yeah.
But it's gonna, the sight distance is gonna improve markedly. As you're coming down here, you'll be
Yeah.
able to see way,
Yeah.
you know, way down there.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, now I have a question. You don't own that land.
I'm sorry?
You don't own that land.
It's town
Town
property.
property.
It's town property.
Remember the stakes were way back down on that property, we saw them stakes, way back and along, we talked to the owner, he was happy, because he said he didn't like cutting, trying to go down and cut the grass.
Oh, yeah, that's
He'd be
right.
delighted, he'd be delighted to have a nice
Yeah.
wall over there.
So you gotta get town approval to, do that.
Do we need town approval?
Yeah.
I think so.
I will have to get it. I know one time we were doing field work out there.
I don't see that we can approve that.
Well, one day we were out there doing field work and the police cruiser stopped. I figured we were in big trouble. And there was a woman police officer, and she said, "Are you gonna widen the road here?" And we said, "Well, that's what we're working on." Well, she said, "It's about time, it's a dangerous curve." So,
I suspect, I think Don's right. I don't know that we can approve any town
No, we
road
can.
change, but I think you probably find support for it.
Probably gotta be
Sure,
one of the roads
yeah.
in there.
They're gonna make it a safer curve.
Okay, all right.
I'll tell you even a better scenario that, talking to, I forget his name, the electric light department, but he said, at one time, somebody suggested, now, Willard Maker lives in this house,
Right.
Yeah.
he suggested the road going like this. That'd eliminate the curve completely. I said, well, I says, that's a good idea, but I don't know if you'd ever get it by the Conservation Commission.
Right.
And the town could do it by eminent domain. And I've talked to Willard Maker about it, he's in favor of it.
Okay, so what other changes have you made to this plan?
Was the end of the drive the same as it was?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah.
Did you not change some of the driveways into the last property? Did you relocate a drive or accesses into it or something?
We,
Oh, he's got a common driveway.
yeah, we have a common driveway for lots 6 and 7.
Okay.
And we did that and made it 14 feet wide. And because of the fire department concerns about getting a fire truck, a ladder truck up there and then backing down, so we made it 14 feet wide.
Yeah, it's backing down.
So one's gonna have to walk around to the other side of the building from where they parked the car.
Where's that, Dave?
On 6 and 7?
On 6 and 7. No, there's enough room.
Isn't 7 a duplex?
They're all duplexes.
They're all
Right.
But there's enough room for 2 cars here.
On
The
each
back-
side, right?
On each side.
Oh, okay.
And then we have a backup area here, and you can turn around and go out.
What, John, what's the average lot size again?
About 20,000 feet.
Square feet.
Okay, about a half acre.
Right.
You know, I don't like that.
Do you have any comments, John, about development density?
Well, we've agonized over this, and I know the board would like us to reduce the number of units. The numbers just don't work out. Right now, we're at about 18% profit. And Mass Housing states that the maximum profit be 20. We're at 18. If we cut down the number of units, even reduce it to 1, your profit goes down to about 10%. You're not gonna get anybody to do any building at 10% profit.
Now, wouldn't the logic be that if I build a larger property and have more land involved in it, that I could probably charge more per unit than I'm charging now?
Well, it's...
So wouldn't, you know, in very, you know, rough numbers, instead of building 10 at 200,000,
Right.
you might build, you know, 6 at 350,000, so that
Right.
your margin still stays essentially the same.
Except for one thing. We have to have 25% be affordable units.
Right.
And that's what stops us.
So you want to build a 20-unit development because you just don't want to make less money. You could keep the margin. You could develop the same margin if you did a smaller density unit. You just wouldn't make as much money. You could keep them affordable, keep the price point model you have now. You just I mean, I don't see where the cost really, you know, forces you into the 20-unit size. I think that's what the board is kind of confused about. I don't see, if you told us, listen, the property cost me $10 million, I got a $500,000 per lot cost. That's a hard cost, I get
Right.
that.
Right.
You know, and you said, okay, my build costs are gonna be $210 a unit. Okay, that's a hard cost.
Right.
Or something close to it.
Right.
Okay, there's 7, you know, most I could sell them at is $755. I don't want to do it for 45 grand on all of that development. But we don't see a lot of hard costs here. So we see a lot of speculation about what the market may generate in terms of sales, and you probably have a better sense than we do. And I'm sure that's what you're basing your cost projections on.
Yeah, you know, you can look in the paper and see what houses are selling for in Raleigh.
Yeah, no, I know, Raleigh has enjoyed a little bit of an uptick, I think. A lot of the properties I've seen in the last 6 months
Yeah,
anyhow
there
have
has
sold
been a little
quickly.
bit of an uptick, but still, you know, the houses, you can't get more than, say, 580, 590 for a good-looking new house. We're building one now up in Emily Lane,
Mhm.
and he thinks he's gonna get 600. I doubt if he's gonna get it.
How big a house is it?
I'm sorry?
How big a house is it?
About 2,200 square feet.
Emily Lane, that's the curb.
Right, yeah.
What would it be on the inside of the curb?
It's on,
other
if you go at the entrance, just before the golf course, it's the
Third house on the left.
third house on the left.
But that's right on top of another house.
Around the corner.
Right, right.
And
I mean, the thing is, you can put up 4 units and you have affordable housing and you still make money. Like Tom says, I mean, I don't see why you can't, you're still gonna make money. I see it, you know, you can say you're only gonna get 10%, but that's hard to believe. I mean, and again, you're still making a road here to go into future land. So, I mean, you're coming ahead for future, say, land that's landlocked, now would be open by this development too.
Well, I know if we ever get there.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, you have to think, yeah, I know what you're looking at money-wise, but you have to think of the board. I mean, this is a crowded situation here,
I know.
you know? And then
And
you
like I
got
said,
these people
we-
here that are gonna be tight, then you're gonna have cars flying into another, what, 50 acres? So, I mean,
did the rest of you hear or read in the paper, maybe you knew it was gonna come, I think we discussed it, but the Girl Scouts have determined that they will be putting their property on the market.
yeah.
207-acre lot. It will be they're putting that market on the property. There's a second market, they own a second property, smaller, elsewhere in the Commonwealth. I can't remember right now, but the Raleigh property will be going on the market.
Yeah, that was in the paper, yeah. And matter of fact, it was in today's Globe also.
Was that where it was today? Yeah, I think I saw the backyard tradesman too. But I know that's a property doesn't that sit adjacent to the rear of?
Right,
of-
right, which I
Way in the
have,
back?
which I have on
You had-
another
yes,
plan
right.
that we'll discuss in a few
Right,
minutes.
we talked about that.
We've got here at the back a turnaround
Right.
at the end of the road. A turnaround. They go through a detention pond.
No, the turnaround, the pavement does not go through the detention pond.
No, I know the pavement does, but you're specifying that that is the turnaround.
Right.
One place to turn.
Part of the
Oh,
infiltration
yeah.
basin is in the cul-de-sac. And usually, a cul-de-sac has a round surface for pavement.
Yeah, you mean
Is
donut
this
paper?
Right,
Yeah, yeah,
right,
yeah.
right.
Is yours solid? Is that what yours?
No, our turnaround is what's, we took it from the Mass Highway traffic manual. It's called the branch. The street comes down like this, but then there's a leg here where, let's say you have a trailer truck, the trailer
Back
truck
in.
would go down here, back up, and turn around and go there. And usually, like I started to say, a cul-de-sac has a round paved surface, circular surface. But the DEP, in their latest regulations, what they call a limited impact design. They said to try and reduce the amount of pavement, and that's how we've done it.
How deep is that back in?
It's almost 60 feet. So it's, it'll take a good sized trailer. And as a matter of fact, we even made it larger, as you'll see in the notes that we've submitted in response to Graham's report, that we've made it substantially larger than what the Mass Highway traffic manual.
So that island that you had before is gone?
Can't pick through everything.
Where would that be, Dave?
Didn't you have an island in the middle of the street before?
He did, that's gone.
That's what,
That's at the entrance.
okay, yeah, but it used to be going, one time, one of the original plans, I think you had it going all the way down, didn't you? But that's okay, it's eliminated, so
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't keep talking about that.
Okay. All right, so what other changes have you made to the plan?
I think that's about it.
Okay. All right. Next item.
And the next plan is the plan of land showing, you wanted to see what public access we had.
Zoning setback, is that what you're doing now?
No, the plan of land.
Set up, I know. All the stuff reading it. It was full of beans, this. Jeez. Rosemary Way.
And you can see we show the whole remaining land, and there is no other public access. And matter of fact, the Girl Scout property that you mentioned is right here, separated by this brook.
Girl Scout.
Yeah. That's one
What was this 145?
That's the remaining land.
That's his.
Must be
So you
a pond and
get new access by buying Girl Scout property, right?
I think that would be difficult, because then we'd have to cross the brook.
There was also, did you see the cabbage, that they're concerned that about the sale of the property because there will be conservation restrictions placed on the use of the land,
Right,
open
right.
space restrictions, so
Right.
it'll probably, whatever happens to it, it's probably going to have limited developmental capability. And I don't even know, looking at the topography, where you'd even be able to build in the first
Yeah,
place.
we've looked at that. As a matter of fact, I've met over the years with, at least twice, and had lengthy meetings with the managers of the Girl Scout property. I even have a copy of they even gave me a copy of their property. And it's, the banks are steep.
Yeah.
It isn't, that brook, you know, I'm trying to think of a comparison. But anyway, the banks of the brook are very steep. It'd take an awful lot of work to get access into that property.
I don't,
You
I
mean
mean,
off
every
of
time I've seen
Weathersfield?
subdivisions where they build bridges, I mean, Wilson Pond's got, they build over the water, I mean, they didn't lose money, I mean, it's not a big deal to make a bridge over a brook,
Right.
done every day, you know,
Well, I know.
I can see it on a two lot subdivision.
Right, right.
Yeah, no, they did it,
yeah,
you're right, they
okay.
did it on Cindy Lane. I mean, that was a
Yeah.
lot of wetland, that's
Yeah,
still
I
wet
know.
down there.
Well, you asked, you know, do we have any other public access?
Well,
And,
yeah, I was just going by your comment, saying it's a big expense, I don't really think it's a big expense when you're building you know, units like that size.
yeah, all
That many
right,
acres.
yeah, yeah.
All right.
Cindy Lane.
Off of Wilson Pond.
Okay.
It seems to me that there's a lot of poor
Yeah.
planning going along here. He's got 145 acres that are landlocked. The only way in is this way. He's had all these lots that he owned all this land. And he built all these houses. He's boxed himself in.
Yeah, he bought himself.
Yeah, I don't know, why wasn't there
That's why I was thinking of road.
an effort to make a road here?
Right, right.
He could buy the
Well,
lot and just go straight in.
He's got a
You know?
couple of lots.
Well, that's
He sold it, what I'm saying is he sold this lot,
Yeah.
which was access.
I know
to that.
He
He
can go in here too and build a bridge.
He marks himself in.
Did Tompkins have own all this? Right along Daniels Road
Yeah,
there,
this one
John?
here is being built.
Along
Was
with-
were these lots that were sold by Tompkins?
Oh, yeah.
Those were all
Yeah,
Tompkins lots?
Many years ago.
Many years ago. but
Many
sold.
years ago. I'm talking like maybe 25 years
Yeah,
ago.
this was the most recent, so this is
That
where
Emily
you
Lane.
have this is where they
You could
have
come
the
in through-
opportunity to.
Yeah,
get
that's what I
in.
mean, you can
Right.
come in through Emily Lane, build a bridge and you're in there.
There's not, but those are all developed lots,
All
right?
in there.
They're not.
No,
He hasn't sold it.
Oh, so these would now, he's got 3 lots right in here that would provide access. Oh, he's got lots over here too.
I think
right?
lot 16A, 22B, 144, they're open,
Yeah, okay,
112,
yeah.
all wide open.
So obviously.
Just as telling you, there's another way in. that's all.
Emily Lane residents would not be excited about that.
I wouldn't think so.
plus the, all the people here on the new development are gonna not be happy with it either.
True there.
Huh?
That's true.
Okay.
Is there anything they do?
Okay, good.
Yeah, look at that. Hey, that's good, only 6 houses.
Yeah, I know.
Nice,
That's nice, John.
I like, nice job.
That's nice, 6 houses,
This one will approve tonight, John.
Yeah,
3 on each side.
no questions asked.
Get my clips out of the way here.
Congratulations.
Finally got what we were saying.
Yeah, finally.
Yeah.
Took all this, what, 2 years?
Right? 3.
Great, yeah. Thanks, John.
You can take all nice single family.
Okay, this represents a conventional design. A conventional design, the length of the dead-end street is a maximum of 500 feet. And we've taken the 500 feet, starting from here to the center of the cul-de-sac. The planning board might say, no, your 500 feet starts here, which would bring it back here, which would reduce it almost to nothing. But even if you start the 500 feet, say at that stone wall, and we did that because these 2 properties are not part of the subdivision, so they might say, okay, we agree with you, that's the 500 feet. We can only get 6 lots out of there. The cost of a conventional subdivision gets to be prohibitive. Emily Lane, which is 2,000 feet long, costs $2 million and $10,000 for 1 foot of road. So if you look at that, and you can only get 6 lots for 500 feet, the numbers are they just don't add up. And now, the areas now are 60,000 square feet, where just a few short years ago, they were 40. The frontage was 125, it's now been increased to 150.
Yeah.
The front setbacks were 15, now they're 50. And the lots can only be a certain shape, you have to meet an area over perimeter requirement. So that's the best we could do. And like I said, that's assuming that the road, we can start the road at that stone wall at 500 feet long.
So this is a conventional
Subdivision.
6 housing subdivision.
Right, exactly.
Based on the assumption that you can begin your 500-foot point right there.
Right.
And in this configuration, with those assumptions being met, is it profitable?
It's a loser, it's a loser.
It's a loser. So you're saying you couldn't, even with the assumptions met, you
Exactly.
couldn't build it,
Exactly.
you wouldn't undertake it.
Yeah, no way.
All right, so what,
What if you continued on and then added the other houses with all the other?
okay, all right, now
47.
that's a conventional, that's 6 houses. 6 houses, okay. Suppose we went to a conventional plan like that and allowed you to build duplexes.
How could you do it?
You can't do it at the price point of selling a conventional property. If all we did is put duplexes there, you know, he increases the units.
Doesn't meet zoning.
He's not doing licenses.
Yeah, no, this is not on this one.
Yeah.
It's the outlying district, single-family dwellings. We put a lot of effort.
Okay, you wanna throw that back at me?
Well, no,
Okay, I got you, okay? Now I'll throw it back at you.
all right,
You're asking for duplexes on a 40B,
right,
on 20,000 square feet lots.
right.
And that's less land than what originally was planned for the central district.
Right,
It was 30,000 square feet in the central district for a single family home. And you want to put 2 families on 20,000 square feet.
20,000, right.
And I don't buy that.
I know.
There's gotta be another way to do it, John.
Well,
So anyways, okay, you've given us this. Any questions on this?
No, no, that's
gentlemen?
good. No,
No, that's clear.
no, it's not.
That's all the plans we had, right?
yes.
Okay. Now you've got your, technical review from Graham. Your responses to that.
This is a line item response, John, is that what we're seeing?
Right, for each comment that he made, underneath, we put a response.
All right, now my question is, didn't we have a waiver list in here somewhere?
That goes way back.
Yeah, all kinds of waivers.
Yeah, all the waivers of every town on the top.
No waiver list yet. Says there.
That was one of the things that I was looking for. How did we miss that, gentlemen?
Yeah, oh,
Well, that is part of item number 7. And
I think if you go through this, I think you'll see all your questions answered.
and number 5. What's the number 5?
Five. Revise the description and the waiver request.
Right, revise the descriptions in the waiver request to specifically explain the anticipated outcome. Now, you said that was where? John?
Yep.
Let's see that anyway.
Haven't addressed that at all.
Wait,
Item 5 of our letter.
it's,
Go to our letter.
no, I understand, but it's, let me, look further here. Okay, if you go to item G in Graham's report, that's where where we discuss waivers. But I think maybe you ought to go through it step by step.
No, we can read it.
G waivers. Gotta keep going. Quite a ways. D, that's D.
Waiver, thank you.
for example,
that Graham has
It's specifically.
specifically noted. Am I correct?
right.
Okay.
And-
What I was
and-
looking
and-
for was a response to, we got here, the application in the bound document requests multiple waivers or variances from the Raleigh zoning bylaws. Most of the requested relief is based on the projected $100,000 loss if the property were conventionally developed within the bylaw as a 3-lot subdivision on a 400-foot long code. We have not reviewed either the calculated loss or a specific section of the bylaw where relief is requested, as this, we perceive, will be the subject of review for the ZBA and Mass Housing.
Continue reading.
Oh, I know.
The application, page 67 and 72 of the bound document, requests multiple waivers from the Raleigh Planning Board rules and regulations. We do not support the following requested relief. Okay? Graham is not, these are the things that they're not supporting.
Right. This is a regurgitation of the Graham view, I think. Isn't this just a regurgitation of what Graham said? I mean, I don't, you know, for instance, I think what the board was looking for is under this comment that Graham made about the tree plan, which says, contrary to the statement provided in your original application, which indicated that there would be trees, their review is that they'll essentially be clear cut. So what I think we were looking for is, what's your comment about that? They're telling us it's not what you originally told us. And this is simply what Graham's review provided us. If you want us to work without further comment, that's what we're gonna work with.
Okay, I remember now. Along with the purchase and sales agreement that's in your file, there's also a copy of those waivers with itemized responses. I'll have to request that you give me permission to go through your file early next week, and I'll dig up both that P&S agreement and that list of waivers.
I certainly have recollection of that waiver list
Right.
existing. I'd be hard pressed to know where at this point in time. I think if we searched our minutes, we could find it.
Original packet.
It's in the original packet.
No, yeah, but I think,
It
John.
was later.
But it was later, after
Right.
the original. The request for the waivers was in the original. But in the first 12 to 15 months of review, we said, you've got to give us more feedback. And John gave us a statement at one point which said, here's a request for the waiver, this is why I want it. I think it was still more nebulous than what we wanted it to be.
Right.
And I think that's what prompted us to ask again.
I
But
don't know,
do recall that
I think
existing.
I gave very detailed
No, I
reasons.
don't dispute.
Yeah.
I do recall that. I do not recall us, and if it exists, it's with your file, only yours. If there was only one copy, it would be with the chairman's file, because the rest of us wouldn't see it. So it would only be in Don's files, I think, at this point of the file, because I don't ever recall you saying, guys, here's the P&S on the property.
I recall seeing it, and I don't recall keeping it.
Well, I think it's in your file.
Hand it back.
And like I said, I could go through it early next week, and
This
email
was
you
drafted
a
by
copy.
an attorney, John?
I'm sorry?
This was drafted by an attorney, was it not?
No, what we're talking about now, the waivers, was drafted by myself.
No.
But the P&S,
Yes.
the P&S was drafted by an attorney. Bruce made a couple of minor changes to it that he penciled in.
Yep.
And the night of the hearing, I met Tom Frangus outside so he could sign it, which he did. And I brought it into the meeting. I thought I made a copy, but I didn't.
No, you never, if Franco's signed it, he never brought it in here.
Right.
No, I brought it in here.
No way.
I met Tom Frankus
No.
outside before the meeting.
Right.
Oh,
The document that I had in my hand was not signed by anybody. And I gave it back to you, and that's the last time I saw it.
I don't recall
I
seeing.
think it's in your file. But if it isn't, we can get another one done.
Well,
PNS.
I would think, John, candidly, that somebody's attorney, either Francos's or yours, would have wanted a duplicate signed copy.
I know, and like I said, everything was done at the last minute, and Tom, like I said, met me outside just before the meeting to sign it. I meant to get copies, I didn't.
The point, John, is that is a critical part of your application.
No question.
And it should have been in our hands right at the very beginning, and
No
it never
question.
was.
No question.
And it never was.
I know.
And you're telling us now that it was signed at the last minute, 2 years later into the process, signed
I
at the
know.
last minute?
I think if we can't locate it, I would invite you to produce it, but we're gonna proceed as though it doesn't exist.
I'd get another order.
Yeah, because it does, right now, it doesn't exist. Because if you're saying, I don't have one, maybe we have one.
I could get a new one signed quickly.
Well, it's
Why
Don's right.
didn't you do that? That was a request that we had, was we wanted a purchase and sale agreement.
Because there were a few items there that Bruce had crossed out and initialed and dated. And Bruce can't remember which ones they were.
Never saw it.
Well, you shouldn't have to worry about it, because nobody's got a copy.
Right.
Except
Your lawyer don't have a copy.
Bruce would be held to it for the purchase and sales agreement.
Well, if we can't produce it, it doesn't exist.
Oh, it's in your file.
Going through our files and never saw it.
Well, we can look for it. We'll look for it. I don't think it's there. I don't ever remember that. Mr. Francos didn't come in that in
No,
time.
no, I
He
met
just
him
appeared
outside.
outside and then he went on his way.
Right. Matter of fact, he called me tonight. That phone call I got earlier.
Mhm.
He said, do you think I ought to come down to the meeting? I thought he was in Beverly, because that's where his office is. I says, where are you? He says, I'm in Portsmouth. I says, well, it's too late now.
Well, I wouldn't want to inconvenience the man because we need a document, not a verbal representation, whether it's yours is or an attorney's. We need a document. It remains open.
Okay.
All right. Oh, I have one other question. Unrelated to this. Next issue. You go ahead. John, it looks like, talk to me about the traffic plan. It's dated July 13th, which suggests it's recent. It talks that this organization, TEP LLC,
Yep.
who appear to be qualified to do this kind of thing.
As a matter of fact, they did the traffic study for the subdivision beyond the golf course.
Okay, here's my question. I don't see any reference herein that actually states that this was done as it relates specifically on the Marion Way location. This
yeah.
looks like to be a projection of what it would be based upon information.
Look at this bottom bullet on page 1. So even above it, he says proposed Marion Way.
No, I understand, it's proposed. What I'm trying to suggest,
Baseline.
okay, so it did this, it says in development area on June 21, 2012. See, see, it says, in the trip generation, it says, the Institute of Transportation Engineers, and I could be reading this incorrectly, compiles and publishes trip generation information for a variety of land uses.
Which page are you on?
Page 2.
Yeah.
It says, this authoritative guide for estimating site traffic includes residential, condominium, townhouse, based on dwelling units. Table 1 shows the following calculated trip generation. So this to me is based on this to me is like saying, here's a guide of what it's like to tour wineries in France. Most of the time, when you go in a winery, here's what you're gonna find. X amount of people drinking X amount of wine, sitting down at X amount of tables, consuming X amount of, and here, I don't see them actually saying, you know, see this next table 1 on page 3, you know, based on trip generation. Well, trip generation is a guide for evaluating. It doesn't look like anybody actually sat here and watched what the traffic there actually is. It's a pure projection of what it might be, which I think diminishes a little bit what the value of the traffic study, because it's, you know, it might be valid for Marion if it was there, but it's not talking to me about the other traffic that Marion's going to impact, which I think is what most of the concern comes to. So I don't know, gentlemen, how valid this traffic study ends up being. That's my speculation. That's all. I mean, I think it looks like an analysis done by a very qualified group, but I'm not sure it's any more than saying, it's any more than a hypothetical analysis of what the case might be.
Well, they have certain guidelines they use, and they use them. Matter of fact, he has footnotes here, Ashstone, which is the American Association of State Highway Transportation Officials.
Tom, if you get back to kind of common sense, wouldn't you try to get all the waivers first before we go any further?
Believe me,
I mean, why do we even, you know what I mean?
well, because I think our role from here forward is to try to go through all this stuff and just try to figure it out. And I think my only interest now is in trying to say, I don't know whether or not we even pay attention to it. You know, I'm not trying to dissect it. You know, it's, you know.
It seems like it gets more confusing. Or maybe it's me, I don't know.
I mean, but I agree, the whole waiver issue, we have to get down to the bottom line in that, and frankly,
Yeah, but that'd be other boards too.
any ultimate decision is going to have an important contingency, as Don just said, critically on the presence of a PE&S. You know, that, it's just, it's not the way we work, it's the way mass housing works. I mean, it's all part of the 40B application process and approval. You know, there has to be a demonstrated buyer. Not a demonstrated hypothetical.
And the thing that has gotten by us, and I didn't realize it, but Mr. Frangos is supposedly the applicant for this project.
I don't know if that's the correct word, but he's the proposed buyer. I don't know if the Tompkins Desjardins Trust is the applicant and he's the buyer, I don't know.
No,
He's the applicant?
He's the applicant.
Okay.
He's the applicant, and he has to show that he has control of the land, and he doesn't.
Right. So well,
And he hasn't. And all these, and all these plans are from Tompkins Gardens Trust, they're not
Right.
from him.
Right.
So we have a problem, John.
Well, I can solve that problem easily.
It's getting late.
And I apologize, like I said, I don't know why, I thought I made a copy the night he signed it. If I did, I can't find it.
The first item on our list was the purchase and sale agreement. You wanted to see it, right? And you didn't produce it.
Right.
So all this is new. Okay, gentlemen, how do you want to proceed with this? I suggest that we get hold of the heating letter.
Yeah, I think we continue the hearing, and we communicate to Edie Netter what John's response has been to date, the information that we have, what we don't have. We get some feedback from her as to how we can move forward with what we have. I mean, I think our intent is to try to draft a decision based upon whatever material we have at this point, whether it's complete or not. There may be, John, some de facto elements in the application, the absence of a P&S could be one, which force the board to arrive at certain conclusions that might negate much more review of the actual substance of the application. I don't know. That our consultant is going to advise us more closely on some of these matters, but the board also has some experience with 40Bs and proceedings.
Well, you mentioned Mass Housing. We got an email from Mass Housing. Bruce got one last week. Want to know the status of the project, so we emailed him back and told him that we're working with the Conservation Commission and with the ZBA, and we hope to resolve all the issues shortly.
Well, town council was clear that it seemed only practical that before we could take action on the application as a ZBA, that Concom would want to issue a definitive position on what you had to do, so that there was no possibility that we actually came to an agreement among ourselves about what might work, and then
And then
Concom says, you guys are all wet. You
I
can't
know,
do that."
right. And like I said, I was flabbergasted that the stormwater report was returned by Camet. And I told you we were at the last meeting of the Conservation Commission, and matter of fact, I viewed the rebroadcast of the meeting, took meticulous notes. We're working on them right now, and we're on the agenda for the next meeting, which is July 20th. And even before the meeting, I'm gonna meet with Brent and sit down with him and show him what we're proposing to make sure all the loose ends are tidied up.
When did you say the meeting is the 20th?
20th.
You realize
Wouldn't
that's
you-
Saturday.
Wouldn't you want to meet them a couple weeks ahead of time in case there is something to change instead of the day before?
No, it is
Oh, I didn't say
July.
that, no, not the day before. I'm gonna meet him, what did you say, the 20th?
Are you
Saturday?
That's Friday.
talking August?
That's Friday.
What month are you talking about?
This
July.
July. it's
July
not
now.
one more day.
It's
August,
Friday.
August 20th is
No,
Friday.
July.
Saturday.
Saturday.
Oh, July.
Saturday.
Saturday.
We're July
I got
18th.
my-
18th now.
Okay, I got my
18th.
dates wrong.
Yeah,
That's right, today's the 18th.
Today's the 18th, that's right.
yeah, so is it next
You
month?
need that?
I don't know if Concom meets next week,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean,
August.
can we get everything in here? Like the purchase and sale agreement and all that before? Everything's got to come in, right?
Right.
We're doing the same thing.
Well, technically, I think in May, we said we said to John, you're gonna, this is what we want.
Right.
And we're gonna proceed from July forward, whether we have it or we don't. And I think we contact Eaton, we say, here's what we got. We need you to go through and review with us, how, you know, here's the specifics.
How owns the property?
How do we, you know, what do we do? She may advise us to say,
okay.
you got nothing.
Right.
You got nothing, sit still.
That's the way I'm
Sit until you got
thinking.
anything else. I don't think there's anything for us to do, I agree.
No, okay, that's what I mean. It's
Yeah.
just-
No. This is what they basically said to us we should have. And I think we got a helter-skelter.
So we're going to continue this.
Yeah, I think we're into a minimum of
No,
60 days.
I'm sure I read this letter once before,
Yeah, because that's my old file.
because this was in Dave's file. May 17, 2012, Brent Paisley,
Yes.
Conservation. The applicant's attempt to utilize the jurisdictional wetland resource areas identified as the pond for stormwater detention or retention is contrary to regulations of the WPA as stated in C 310 CMR 10.05 6K. No area subject to protection under Mass General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, other than bordering land subject to flooding, isolated land subject to flooding, land subject to coastal storm flowage, or riverfront area may be altered or filled for the impoundment of detention of stormwater, the control of sedimentation, and the attenuation of pollutants and stormwater discharges, and the applicable performance standards shall apply to any such alteration or fill. Thus, the RCC would more than likely deny the proposed stormwater management as currently put forth due to the accompanying alterations that will impact water, vegetative land, and waterways, and pond. The applicant's statement that meaningful access to open space has been provided is not supported by the facts of the plan. In fact, the character and nature of the depicted open space located to the rear of only certain lots appears contrary to the normal usage meaningful sense. Meaningful since it is reduced to the undeveloped area, portion of few lots, and can thus only have value to those immediate occupants. Accessibility is also not supported by any valid facts of the plans. The applicant is not depicted any trail easements or public parking areas that might offer access to the public or other neighbors. In the Conservation Commission's experience, only when properly laid out trail systems, public parking is provided, can any overall benefit to the community be presumed. The ZBA should also be aware that the RCC consistently seeks to apply perpetual restrictions for 25-foot width, no cut, no disturbance zone, with a portion of the 100-foot buffer zone or in vegetative wetlands. Under WPA, notice of intent application process. The proposed open space on portions of this revised plan is actually less than the RCC would seek to protect against such restrictions in order to protect the impact of the development and should protect the interest of the eliminated border vegetation wetlands. Those important interests are prevention of pollution, protection of groundwater, supply, storm damage prevention, and protection of wildlife habitat, to name a few. This translates into depicted open space being a very diminished value since a large portion of that square footage and buffer zone will be afforded protection through the notice of intent application process. stated in earlier memos 1 through 5, the Conservation Department did not recommend this project as proposed, and in fact find serious deficiencies which should be addressed by a complete redesign that appropriately addresses the concerns of the property right to which we lose. Thank you for your consideration. A copy of the Janice Engineering, the Planning Board, Graham, Board of Health. So, all right, I guess the thing to do is to just leave this in the front. And then get, Edie's coming.
I think we should draft up a summary of this meeting. Maybe we can meet, I can meet with these, put a summary statement together of what, Edie knows what we asked for. She has a copy of everything that John was receiving. And review for her what we received. I can draft some information, prepare with Lisa, copy it to everybody so they can see what we sent. And we can send it to Edie, and then Edie can be in touch with you and decide how she wants to, she can recommend what she thinks our next step should be. Go from there.
Okay. All right,
And John, as you might, as you might imagine, we're mostly interested in moving aggressively and completing this process.
And so are we, believe me.
And
It may not look it, but we are.
No, you may be, but we're going to move aggressively. So, you know, you may not, you may not initially perceive all of the thought that's behind the actions we are going to be taking, but it is designed, I think, to be for the intent and the interest of the board and the town, what we do, because we want to get it done. Both for you and for the town. Anything else?
Well, I thought maybe you might want to go through Graham's items, one item by item, though.
Not necessary.
I'm sorry?
Not necessary. Your written word is clear. Okay, I make a motion that we continue the hearing till,
Skip a month.
yeah, I was gonna say, let's make it, was it September 18th? September 18th?
19.
That's 2 months.
19th?
19.
Yeah, two, we gotta skip a month.
Oh, we're gonna skip.
Yeah, you gotta see and take time. And that should, by 2 months, you should be able to get a person to sell again.
Yeah, we'd encourage you to do that.
I can get a purchase and sales agreement tomorrow, but I prefer to get the original. Like I said, because Bruce crossed out a few items that he initialed and dated that I'm pretty sure is in your file.
No way.
You don't,
No.
well, I would suggest that you, whoever drew it up, go see him, have him draw it up.
I have an unsigned copy of the original,
Well,
Okay.
you know,
and I can get that signed tomorrow, but like I said, there were 2 or 3
You
items
said
that,
you didn't have a copy of it.
I'm sorry?
You said you didn't have a copy of it.
No, I have,
Didn't have a
I don't
copy
have
of
a
the
copy
signed
of the signed. I have a copy of the unsigned.
even a lawyer has to,
Does that make any sense?
No.
yeah, it does. I would expect your attorney to be able to produce 50 copies of the unsigned
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
That's right. That's right.
That I would expect.
Yeah.
And he'll charge you for each one.
Right, I'm sure.
So,
All right, so you made a motion to continue?
take the unsigned one and take it back to Bruce and say, here, cross off what you want to cross and make the changes you want to make.
Not a hard thing to do.
No, it isn't.
And I'll tell you, John, that that document came in at a time when our admin assistant, who is currently the town planner, was very thorough about
I know.
every document. that
That's
came
right,
into this
yeah, I
board.
agree, I agree.
And if it exists in the board, in any file, there's probably a record that it was here.
I'll be surprised if I can't find it in your file, I'll be shocked. Because I know, like you said, she was very,
It's very thorough.
very thorough.
Well, I think what the chairman has said makes sense.
There's a list of documents, right? That are in the file. It's not in the file.
It's not on the file. I mean, I will personally look at my file in case it happened to got in my file by mistake, because we were passing around.
I will look at it.
I mean, you know, our files are like this one.
So I got drawers.
Yeah, I'm sure. But I would suggest what Don says you follow. Get another one.
No question, we will. And shortly.
Yeah, I mean, we're probably gonna get a letter out to our mass housing consultant within the next 2 weeks.
Well, look, you'll have a purchase and sales agreement, one way or another, by the middle, what's today, Thursday, by the middle of next week.
That's fine. I mean, if you can produce it, get it to Lisa, at least we have it.
Yeah.
3 years later.
Yeah.
All right, well, I made a motion.
I'll second it.
Second?
Okay, motion made, continue the hearing till when?
September
19th.
19th.
19th. All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? So,
Thank you, John.
Well, thank you, and thanks for your patience. And like you said, we will aggressively pursue all avenues.
okay, do I hear a motion to adjourn? Motion's made to adjourn.
Second?